95.7 The Hog, the Morning Hog. Hey, it's happy hour time. Must be time for a Morning Hog brew review. Josh from SR Prat is bringing us flavors and the man who makes it all happen from Alcatraz Brewing. It's all up next on the Morning Hog on 95.7 The Hog. Hey, it's time for a Morning Hog brew review. Morning Hog happy hour starts right now. I am Riggs. That is Josh from SR Prat.
Yeah.
Back in the house, baby.
I'm clapping for myself. Kind of weird.
Wait, Josh, hold on a second. There's some dude sitting right next to you that I recognize. Tell everybody who we brought in the house.
I got
today.
Steve Morgan from Head South and Alcatraz Brewing.
Steve Morgan!
Thank you.
Hey, Steve, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been a minute since you've been in here, buddy.
Returning champion.
Yeah? Yeah, you are the returning champion.
Yeah, for real.
Literally are the returning champion. And I thought about you recently because I was drinking some of your beer during a Georgia Bulldog huge win last weekend or a couple weekends ago.
Good for your Bulldogs.
And I feel like this is the trend. So now it's only Alcatraz beer on game day for me.
Good.
That's it.
And we can talk
Bring
about
the
places
wins.
you can pick that up or find it, too.
Yeah, I hear you're going on tour, and I want to know about this. But, Josh, you were kind enough to bring us some of Steve's beer today.
Steve brought it this time, buddy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Straight from
Steve
the
was
tap.
kind enough.
We know that it's cold.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
Exactly.
It's always in good condition, but we know for sure that it's cold today.
Well, if people don't know, and you can find Alcatraz in a lot of places now. I like it. It's just growing. It's just morphing out, isn't it?
Head South.
And Head South. So
Head
there's
South.
Yeah.
two different brands here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's
Yeah,
start.
I'll let Steve kind of explain what's going on with that while I pour us a first one.
So Alcatraz, which many of you are
got
familiar
napkins.
with already.
We got to spill an aisle, too. It's all right. It happens. That's the beauty of beers.
I got too excited.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's a storyline there, but
Yeah.
we'll put that one aside.
Steve was doing jumping jacks outside earlier. I saw him. He's getting warmed up for the show.
So Head South is a new brand from Alcatraz Brewing. So it's obviously it's meant to indicate that it's a local brand. So Head South, as in Head South. There's two beers in the brand. There's a Head South 66 Hazy IPA, which we're going to start with, and then there's a Head South 69 West Coast style IPA.
Okay.
So the numbers in the name indicate the alcohol of the beer and also the IBUs.
Okay.
So it's meant to telegraph to somebody it's 6.6% alcohol, 66 IBUs.
Brilliant.
And Head South as a brand is a fairly zen-like. You're going to get into this, Riggs. I'm
already into this.
I'm going to get a little zen-like now.
I like it.
Head South will only be IPAs, and every beer will have a number, and the number will always correspond to the percent alcohol in the IBUs.
Perfect. You're doing the thinking for people. When you're having beer, you shouldn't have to think. Steve's helping you out. You're welcome. Okay, so this is Head South
66 Hazy
66.
IPA. So the 66 in the name is a triple entendre. It references 6.6% alcohol, 66 IBUs.
All right.
And it's also this would be a great little interlude at some point. Depeche Mode, Route 66, the extended version.
Oh, okay,
hold
look
on
at
a
that.
second.
Tying it in.
Version.
Somebody
There
break
you
out
go.
the keyboards.
So anyway, so there you go. Here we go. So, but what I think most unique about this beer, so the predominant hop is Citra, so you get a juicy characteristic to it.
Very.
But it's got a really clean finish.
Yes.
You get to that back end, and you wait for that like IPA kick to come, that bite that some people don't like.
It's not there.
And it just finishes almost
not
like
there.
you're drinking a German lager.
And we've seen some hazies where you couldn't see in the other side of the glass, but you can see through this one a little bit. If you want to wave to somebody through it, see, you can see me in there, right?
Yeah,
But
I don't believe in the milkshake beer. It's really weird. There are hazies out there that literally like you can't see anything. And they're full of yeast. They're full of oatmeal
Right.
or oat flakes. So
Right.
this is
You're always wondering what they're kind of hiding.
This is a balanced hazy IPA.
Right. Yes, that's a good point, Josh. There's nothing hidden.
Yeah, for real.
Right.
That's fantastic
good.
beer. Nice backbone on that, too. I really
Thank
like
you.
the way the finish on it. It's fantastic. Easy drinking.
Yeah, very easy drinking.
The Head South brews, I've seen them a lot of places.
Yep.
Where's some places we can track them
So
down?
number one, there's a lot of places, but certainly the Total Wine is like that's for my brand. That's the juggernaut. You'll find it in certain ABCs, Palm Coast, Ormond Beach. You'll find it at some independents as well, and then you'll find it on draft at a lot of different places. As you know, a lot of people rotate their tap handles these days, so you'll find it in places like the Brown Dog or other accounts, but then you may be rotated back out again later on. You'll find it at Grand Haven Golf Club and Grand Haven at Village Center Cafe. So there's a number of places. Where
There's
you can
always a
find
great
beer.
source for that, too.
Oh, you're talking about srprot.com/beer finder.
That would be the one.
Really, you can just
That would
find
be
it. Let that do it.
And while we're doing our plugs, in any time, Facebook or Instagram, Alcatraz.beer, headsouth.beer. You can find, you can follow
Simple
us
enough.
on Facebook and follow us on Instagram.
God, I want to get a .beer.
Rigs.beer.
Rigs.beer. I mean,
Yeah.
look at it if it's
You know what?
available.
It actually had just become available when I was doing the websites, and I'm like, I'd much rather be a .beer than
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, why not?
Yeah. Josh, will you dot us another beer real quick?
I can do that.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah, I got
All right,
it.
let's
Let's see
making
if
me
I can
thirsty
open this one a
talking
little
about
cleaner.
it. Yeah, get ready for the edit. Oh no, we're
There we
fine.
go,
Okay,
we're good,
we're
we're
totally
good.
good on this one. All right.
So this is the Head South 69. The first thing
Nice.
you're going to notice is more similarity than difference between the two beers. So
Okay.
the 69 is 6.9% alcohol, 69 IBUs.
All right.
It's a contemporary West Coast style IPA. So
Okay.
the predominant hop in this beer is Simcoe. So you're going to get a nice dank nose.
Oh.
Dank,
Do you want to
dank-
explain
Whatever,
dank?
Yeah, I'll let Josh explain
Okay.
dank.
So we've used that word quite a few times, and
Mm-hmm.
actually there's a lot of breweries nowadays that actually use it as part of the name of their brand. When you say dank, you're kind of referring to marijuana, typically. you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Sure.
But the hop
Like a
family
good
in
fresh
marijuana
bag of
is,
Sensimillion, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
It's very close in the chart of whatever that plant is called.
Yeah.
Well, so
Wet
marijuana
plants.
is the most closely related plant to hops.
There
Right.
you go.
And so it's not unusual for a hop to have that aromatic, but Simcoe in particular is known for having it in a big way, which is why I wanted that. So what's interesting about these two beers is they're made the same way, except for the first one was not filtered and the second one is.
Okay.
They're very similar alcohol, very similar IBUs, and yet they taste different because I'm using Citra in the first one, I'm using Simcoe in the second one. So you get that dank one here, in the other beer you got a little bit more of a juicy characteristic.
I love drinking these side by side too, so you can taste the direct comparison.
Very much.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are very different in that way, and
Yeah.
there's a.
Yeah, they're from the same family, but this is back to that whole Zen-like thing.
I had this on tap, right?
Yep.
At where did I have it? Well, I was telling you, I
Cork and
messaged-
Pint.
Cork and Pint. Yes.
Out there in Palm
I sent
Coast.
Josh a
Great bar out
text
there.
of me celebrating the Georgia Bulldog win, and I was like, holding. But I'm glad we defined where I was because I can't really remember. So again, this beer as well, same spot. You can find it. Total Wines.
Total Wines,
Get your ABCs.
A lot of different draft accounts. You've already mentioned a couple of them. Also, again, Grand Haven has it as well. So there's a number of places out here that you can find this beer on draft.
Yeah, and the cool thing about these, they're 4-pack 16-ounce cans, so you're getting a full pint.
Right.
I love full pints.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Who doesn't?
And you're going to want, when you get through 12 ounces, you're going to be like, oh, I wish and then you have more. That's the
Right.
beauty of it, right?
So the other thing I wanted to say today,
Let's
and
do
we
this.
This is a nice little transition as we head into the Alcatraz beers.
I love it.
Is statewide.
Okay.
With an emphasis on the S. Statewide.
Statewide.
Statewide. not just statewide, but statewide.
Okay.
So we're
Florida.
going statewide.
Right.
I'm going on tour.
Okay.
Riggs, I'm going on tour.
Really?
And actually, because you're a tour industry professional.
Sure I am.
Maybe you could help me out with this.
Yeah.
So actually, if you do go back to plug the Facebook and the Instagram again, Alcatraz.beer, headsouth.beer, Facebook and Instagram, you'll find all the dates through December 23rd. So, of course, the emphasis will always be on Volusia and Flagler County.
Okay.
So you'll find a lot of dates in Daytona, in Palm Coast, and the surrounding area.
I like it.
But we're also going to be getting out to places like St. Augustine and Jacksonville.
Really?
We're getting out to places like, of course, Orlando. We'll be getting down to southern Florida, places like Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Oh.
So those dates will all be up there. In the first week in December, we'll have dates for January and February. So I'm going to be on the
Really?
road. Yeah, so I'm going to be on the road. So please come out and see me.
Jeez, look out. So you're just like, were you loading up like a van, a couple of changes of underwear, some Alcatraz T-shirts, and you're just...
The most important thing, what takes the most space,
Yeah.
is all the coolers.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Great point.
So like,
great
it's
point.
different than most tours. Well, it's similar because you would have like all the sound equipment, right? That was
Yeah.
what take up all the space.
Right.
Yeah, fair
you
enough.
got the speakers, the guitars, all this stuff. I've just got coolers and cold beer.
That's not bad. That's a good cumbersome thing. I want to find out what's in your tour rider. We'll get to that coming up after the break. The Morning Hog Brew Review on 95.7 The Hog. 95.7 The Hog, The Morning Hog. Riggs, no Steve today. That's Fine. Actually, we do have a Steve. Steve Morgan.
I'm the replacement. I'm the sub
Alcatraz.
Steve.
Yeah, please, you do not want that title.
better replacement.
Of course, Josh from SR Perot and the Morning Hog Brew Review.
You
Yeah.
can just call me Steve.
We've got the upgraded Steve version because
We can make it Steve 1. It's fine.
Steve version.
because the
2.0.
Morning Hog Steve doesn't have great beer. You have great beer, and you brought us more. We had some head south to start, and now it's all about the Alcatraz.
It's going to be all about the Alcatraz. But I have to tell you something I was thinking about on the drive down here.
Yeah.
When I was, a kid, we were all kids at one point.
Right.
I remember listening to FM radio.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And I remember how cool I always thought the DJ was. Right?
Right.
Oh,
And
right.
so now here
Where's
I
this
am,
going?
and I'm hanging out with a DJ who is incredibly cool.
Well-
no, it really is true. Okay,
Please, I don't.
But here's the thing I
please
was
keep
thinking
the
about.
applause down, please. Please, please. Oh,
But then
if I were able to blush, I'd blush.
But then I was thinking, as a brewer, that might be almost as cool as being a DJ.
Well,
So think
Yeah.
about that for a
yeah.
minute, huh?
See, I'm having that kind of thing too because I always thought Josh is cool because he has contact with people like you, and you're cool because you've not only you swim Alcatraz all the time, and you have a beer called Alcatraz, and my 15-year-old daughter wears her Alcatraz shirt
Oh, cool.
to school all the time, and I'm like, "Do you know that's a beer shirt?" And she's like, "No, it's coffee." I'm like, "Well."
Oh, she has the coffee one, the double
Yeah,
over one.
yeah. But I mean, all the time. Like
So-
it's
so
like
does that-
school
does-
photos.
it's a comfortable
Alcatraz.
shirt.
Does that mean I need to get you another shirt?
Yes,
Did
please.
you give that
I
one?
had to give it to her.
Got it.
That was
You
my
had to
way
give
of.
it to your daughter,
That was my
right?
way of getting around to doing that. Yeah. But as we're gonna taste some delicious Alcatraz beer, tell us how
All
you
right.
started because I
All
know
right,
this was.
so I'm going to tell you the story of
roots.
Alcatraz, but first I just have to say again, statewide, statewide,
Yeah.
statewide. All right, so so this is the Alcatraz Double IPA. This is my flagship.
Oh, baby.
It's a beer that I brewed originally in Northern California, hence
Okay.
the name Alcatraz.
Right.
And when I relocated out here to Central Florida, I flew the guy that I'd been brewing with out there here to make sure that we brewed the beer the same as we had before.
Okay.
And I brew all of these beers at Brew Hub in Lakeland. So for those of you out there who it's important for you to be local, hyper local, whatever you want to call it, these are all local Central Florida beers. You want to add anything, Josh?
No, that's it's a great point. Brew Hub actually does a lot of beer out there. Great facility, great on their quality and stuff like that. So, like you said, it's local. So support local.
Let's tie it in with the music again. It's essentially like a band taking all their equipment, going to a cool studio, and pounding out a record. You're doing that with all of your.
I'm kind of doing what Van Morrison did in Scotland, where they just took over the castle and they all went in and they recorded Astral Weeks in like 7 days or
I
something.
like that a lot. I like that comparison.
I don't
a lot.
know what it has to do with my beer,
Yeah.
but it just struck me as an interesting reference at the moment that you said that.
Sure, I was thinking about Motley Crue taking over the machine shop or something. I don't know. I was in a different area, but this beer is like has what I like the most in IPAs. It has
Which is?
just a full hoppy flavor without an attack. I don't feel like my sensors are dulled from this beer.
So thank you. And so this beer won the silver medal this year at the
Congratulations.
Florida Best Craft Beer Competition.
Whoa,
Thank you
okay,
very much.
right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have the medal here. Should probably put it on.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I thought about wearing it in.
I would've.
Maybe is that a bit much?
I would have thought you won a Pulitzer or something. I would have mistaken it. I had no idea.
Pulitzer comes next.
Really, so silver. Look, there's only
The only one that beat it is called Oh Yeah from Fort Pierce Brewing Company, and you can only get it at the Brew Pub in Fort Pierce. So this is the beer that you can actually buy.
the only award-winning beer that you can buy.
That's correct.
I love that.
That's correct.
It's even better.
So a quick story behind this beer and my brew making or my beer making. I started at a place called Napa Smith Brewing Company in Napa, California.
Okay.
And the brewer that we hired, a guy named Don Barkley, had started originally at New Albion Brewing Company, which is the first newly licensed brewery since Prohibition in the United States. Started in 1976.
Okay.
So Don is a leftover 60s hippie. He's got the whole deal. I shouldn't even say leftover. He's still a 60s hippie. Like
Okay.
you can
You
still
may
be,
have met Don at some point.
Yeah?
Yeah. He came out here a couple of times.
Yeah?
He did a couple of events.
Okay.
He was actually
He was helping out
at
when-
Tomoka.
Yep.
Yeah, he helped out
Oh,
at
really?
Tomoka for a
Okay.
little while. Yeah. So anyway, so Don is he's just an amazing guy. And so I was a wine guy who started running a brewery with the most experienced craft brewer in America, and I just like via osmosis I started learning like everything that he had to impart to me.
Really?
I was like that, I was his boss, but he was my mentor. Like I was
Yeah.
like the
I like it.
Padawan or whatever,
Yeah.
right? You know, so going around like listening to everything that
little
Don
beer
says.
apprentice.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I've in this beer, I think that I've tried to hit a little bit of everything. There's a lot of complexity. There's a lot of flavor going on.
Yes.
But there's also, if you look at the copper color, there's 15% Vienna malt in this beer, and as that malt roasts longer, it caramelizes and gets a little bit sweet. So even though this beer is enormously hoppy, it has 1.5 times the amount of hops as the two Head South beers that we had.
Okay.
It doesn't taste extremely bitter because that Vienna malt gives you just a little perception of sweetness.
It's probably my favorite part of the beer, the way it finishes off. Obviously, I love the hot part too, but the way it finishes, especially at the ABV it's at,
Yeah.
super easy to drink. Could be dangerous, you know.
Yeah, it's an 8% alcohol beer that does not taste like 8% alcohol.
Hello. Anybody want to ring that up? 8%. And I feel like if you haven't tried this beer and you're an IPA drinker, you have to try it. But even if you're not, like you said, the malt is kind of that bridge, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I don't like IPAs so much. Well, try
Right,
this.
Right. And it's interesting you say that because when I have people taste my beers, I do them in the same order that Josh is pouring them for us today. You start with the hazy IPA, then you go to the single IPA, then you go to the double IPA. But the interesting thing about this one is you could put this one first or second.
Yeah.
And you're not
the
gonna
order.
wreck your palate.
Because of that little bit of Vienna malt, it doesn't have to come third. It really comes third because the alcohol is a little bit
Right.
higher. But other than that, it doesn't have to from a bitterness standpoint.
Well, what did you leave on the tail end here that's going to just...
Well, we have something special.
Oh.
Which you've had before. You had it before, but I'm not sure that we did it on the show.
All right.
So this is the Alcatraz Double Cold Brew. So finally, for those of you out there who are listening, you're like, are they only going to talk about IPAs? No, we're going to talk about a coffee stout now. So this is the Alcatraz Double Cold Brew. It's an imperial coffee stout. Okay. For this beer, I'm starting with Guatemalan coffee beans that grow at high elevation. The beans grow at 5,100 feet in elevation, so almost a mile high for those of you who are doing math out there. And the coffee beans, we leave them whole. We don't grind them. We don't put them in the boil when we make the beer.
Really?
We wait. They're never ground, and they don't get boiled with the rest of the beer.
Interesting.
We keep the beans whole. We wait till the beer's done fermenting. We chill the beer down to 34 degrees, and we actually, for 6.5 hours, pump the cold beer through the whole beans.
Okay.
So I'm making this beer the way Pete's or Starbucks makes a cold brew. I'm just using cold beer to pump through the beans rather than cold water.
So remember back in the day, you don't see it very often more, but people using Randalls.
Yeah.
Were they-
It's like a giant random.
Okay,
So
all right.
what it really is if you've seen those torpedoes that some places use, a stainless steel, they call them torpedoes.
Yeah.
They stuff them full of hops, and they take the beer out of the tank and they pump it
Yep.
through slowly. We take a torpedo and stuff it full of coffee beans.
Okay.
So when people think about this beer and you taste it, whoa, are they putting sugar or lactose or all these artificial ingredients? No. It is a beautiful stout that is just slowly pumped through whole coffee beans.
That's
so
fantastic.
it's actually Reinheitsgebot
Wow.
from the German definition of just having, barley, yeast, malt, and water. I mean, I left one out anyway, whatever. but we're just pumping it through the coffee beans, so you get that really rich cold brew flavor.
That's delicious.
Forward flavor. To
See,
That
I'm
makes
not
me
even,
happy.
and I don't drink coffee, so I don't know what the difference. I don't know the difference, but I
what's
do
weird-
know when
what
you have a
is-
coffee stout.
It doesn't taste like most people's coffee
No.
because it's not bitter.
Okay.
You're
Right.
getting almost a fruitiness to
Yeah.
it because the coffee beans are lightly toasted. So they're not dark and harsh like an espresso roast or a French roast. So you're getting
Nice
I
and-
taste a little bit of vanilla, maybe even lavender in there. That's coming from the coffee bean.
That's
I
fantastic.
would think once you grind the beans and stuff
They
like
don't,
that,
but
it
you don't.
changes it, right?
Yeah,
It'll
it
change
does.
the
It-
flavor. Yeah.
It macerates them, tears them up a little bit.
Yeah, this is great. Wow. Look at
the
this.
craziest part about that, 8.8%.
This is 8.8?
This is 8.8.
Yeah,
Whoa.
It certainly does not drink like
Uh-oh.
No, so when we first
You might not hear the end of
I
the show
think
today.
it's a true story. So when we brewed the pilot batch of this beer, and we saw the results from the lab at Brew Hub, and it said 8.8. The brewers at Brew Hub and I looked at each other and we're like, nope, no way. Because higher alcohol creates viscosity, so it's heavier than water. So
Right.
this beer should be heavy.
Sure.
It's not. The next thing is it creates a burn. It should have a little bit of burn. You should get like,
Yeah.
There's no burn
None.
whatsoever. So we sent it to another lab, an outside lab. It came back at 8.79. This beer is 8.8. We don't
That's
know
great.
why.
You're not gonna
but
mess
it
with
doesn't
it?
taste like it.
Right.
It tastes like 4.5,
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
It tastes like a Guinness, which is like 4.2 or something.
We
right?
talked about the people assume that dark beer and the higher gravity. Well, here you go.
Exactly.
Here's an example of that
Perfect
without the
example of
burn
it.
and the pain. It's all the flavor and joy of it right there. You can-
That's so good.
Oh, Alcatraz, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you, sir.
It's incredible. Now
It's almost as cool as being a DJ.
It's almost. but not there.
But not
Number
quite.
2.
But not quite.
I think technically I would win that because I'm a little of both, right?
Well, that's right, right.
Oh, that's right.
He's
Josh.
combined.
Let's hear for Josh.
We've got the DJ Brewer guy.
There you
Right.
The Brew J. You're the Brew J.
All right, I'll take that.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. We got to get a new T-shirt for you. You got to get rid of that shirt and
Brew
get you a
J.
Brew J. Yeah.
I ain't getting rid of this one.
Steve will help you get those
And
printed
the question
up.
is it you with 2 dots or is it EW?
That's a
Brew
great point.
J or
Ooh.
Brew J?
You got to think about that. It's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to get
that may be
licensing
a
from Motley
conversation
Crue.
later. After about 2 of these,
It's a lot.
I'm sure I can get pretty deep on that one.
This beer I've seen in stores, so I know you can get it at a lot of places.
Absolutely.
But let's
Again,
hit
the
some
Total
spots.
Wines, the ABCs.
Yeah.
You'll find it on draft at a number of places. And also, whenever you're in doubt, Alcatraz, Alcatraz.beer, headsouth.beer,
Easy.
Facebook, Instagram, website. Or
srprot.com/beerfinder.
Yep, that one.
Almost forgot it. I was enjoying the 8+%. Well, all right. So the tour starts when?
the tour is ongoing. I mean,
Really?
the tour starts now.
Right.
Like today,
All
right
right.
now. It
All right.
starts. This is the tour.
Yeah, this is it.
This is like.
Could we
this is
call
la-
it the Black
this
Friday
is the launch
tour?
event.
The Black
This is launch
Friday
event.
tour, which starts on Black Friday.
We should have
That's a
had
great
tickets
name.
go on sale at midnight. I forgot that part.
The Black Friday special. we get the special. Everybody else has got to buy your own, but we get this.
But no, seriously, Facebook, Instagram, headsouth.beer, Alcatraz.beer. Come check it out. Come see us. We'll be on the road for quite a bit, all through the winter and the spring. We'll be
Excellent.
out on the road. And always back, at least a third, maybe even half the dates will be here locally in Daytona, Palm Coast, surrounding area.
Spreading beer cheer around Florida.
There you go.
There you
That's
go.
Steve from Alcatraz.
The beer
Josh,
cheer tour.
SR Perrott, once again, thank you.
Statewide.
Statewide. Cheers.